everyone. Thanks for joining us here on Mom Squad. This is the show where we tackle all sorts of parenting topics. And today, the squad is here to talk about one of the hardest milestones, potty training. Maybe you're about to start potty training for the first time. Maybe it's your third or fourth time around and your child's personality is just different than the other ones. There's a lot of information, a lot of methods out there, but which one is best? And can we even say one is better than the other? We have expert advice in just a minute. But first, joining me today, my fellow moms, Laura Queso and Danielle Wiggins. And we brought Laura on because you're about to start the process.
I know. And there's so many mixed messages about like, when do you start? What's the best technique? So I feel like I'm in good company to ask all the questions, learn all the things, and then tell you kind of what I'm thinking, and you tell me if it's good or not.
Yeah, and then I brought Danielle, and if you know Danielle, we know that your kids are a little bit older, but when I was saying, oh, we're gonna do a segment on potty training, you're one of the only people I know that was like, yeah, we did it in a day.
Yeah. Okay. I have to put a caveat on that one though. We read the book. My friend gave me the book, Potty Training in a Day. Okay. So I read the book. Now remember, my second, it just turned 12, like this week. So that was about 10 years ago. So I don't really quite remember a lot of it, but I remember reading the book. And then I have two, so one, he is 14, she's 12 now. But for each one of them, it was like nothing. We did nothing all day. I was there with them, and I just remember being upstairs all day with the little potty in the hallway, and I did whatever the techniques that the book said. And they got it. But again, it was just, I think it just paved the way for like, okay, oh, it's okay to use the bathroom. I might need a potty here. My little Lightning McQueen potty. So it helped in that terms, but we still have to, there are still accidents and things like that. And I think the big question was, do we wear pull-ups or do we just go cold turkey and put them in regular underwear?
Moral of the story, get the book, okay? So if you still have the book, it's collecting dust.
Actually, somebody gave it to me like to borrow, and I gave it back. Because we all had kids around the same time, so we were just like passing that book around.
Yeah. The book of gold.
There are a lot of methods. And Laura, you're about to get hit with like a whole bunch of recommendations. I have like the secret advice.
Okay, let me hear it.
I have I want the experts.
Oh, you want the experts?
Okay, like, wait a minute.
This is the one thing that I have, like the one thing that anybody who's going through this, the one piece of like mom advice that I will pass on to you. But first, we went to the experts to find out what they recommend.
How do you know when your child is ready for potty training? Well, it's different for every kid.
You never know how it's going to be, but you can pay attention to your child and get equipped.
Pay attention to certain signs that your child might be ready to say goodbye to the diapers.
I kind of break them down into two categories, being just kind of from a developmental perspective solely, and then there are some potty-specific kind of signs that you might observe.
Developmental signs like sitting, standing, and walking on their own.
Mainly from a safety standpoint because, we want them to be safe, we want them to be able to get to the potty independently.
Then comes the potty-specific signs.
They may start to show some awareness about what's happening with their body by, asking for a diaper change when theirs is wet or dirty, being uncomfortable by being in a dirty diaper. They may start to hide when they're trying to have a bowel movement.
One thing's for sure, it takes time and it's not all at once. You want to start slow.
It's always a good idea to start kind of gradually introducing the concept to them first.
Introduce it to them through reading books, watching YouTube videos, even doing pretend play with your kids' toys, all focusing on the potty.
So that they can start to learn some of the steps, get familiar with the concept without being forced to change anything themselves right away.
But if you need the extra guidance, the Huckleberry Baby and Child app is there to help.
Huckleberry also helps with that potty training process now, where it can help you with the reminders of during that stage of potty training.
You can set those little reminders on your phone like, oh, okay, so after breakfast, they tend to pee about 15 minutes later.
But the biggest reminder, potty training isn't one size fits all.
That's normal, so you don't have to like freak out that your child's coming up on 2.5 and you haven't done the potty training thing yet.
It may take some time, it may be fast, but whatever it happens, it's going to be okay. Give yourself grace, give your child grace, and relax.
So a lot of that is great advice. Obviously, looking for the signs is very important. And I will say, the first time around, so I have 3 girls. I don't have the experience with boys. We've talked in the past where, there's rumors, oh, boys are harder. Then I will have to say, mine were all different. They were all different in their interest, in what signs they showed, in what they were comfortable with. My first one, she had no problem going, we'll call it number 1 on the potty. My second one had no problem going number 2. She had trouble with number 1 on the potty. And so
it is interesting.
And we did everything pretty much the same way. And as we started out talking, you've heard 18 months, right? Oh, 18 months, you can start.
I just that sounds very early to me from where he is now. Even though I was telling you, ladies, that yesterday he was running around in a diaper, I'm sorry, and the diaper fell off. And he said, look, Mama. And I was like, oh my God, your diaper fell off.
Yeah.
Good job. But I'm thinking 18 months. I know there's a range there 18 to 3 years, kind of when they're ready, but I don't think we're ready in 2 months.
As long as he's ready by kindergarten.
Yeah, thanks.
You know what, though? I mean, I don't know if we're jumping ahead here, but there's a lot of times where, I know this happened with at least 2 of mine, where they were in a preschool or a daycare, and they said, well, to move up to the next classroom, guess what? They have to be potty trained. So you better you better crack the whip at home and get them really learning how to use the potty. I will say one of the methods that I saw very early on, even before I had kids, there's a Montessori method. Okay. And this is where I thought, well, I should have them potty trained by 18 months.
Okay.
And I thought there was by 18 months because there are people who, as soon as the child eats, they wait 15, 20 minutes. And then, even as just starting to toddle around walking, they put their child on the potty and wait until they go. And so
you make the child sit there until they go.
Yes.
Did you? So you did this?
So I thought that's how you're supposed to do it. I've tried it, and I think for me it was we did a lot of I read some books, and we would try I thought I was going to do it in a day where we spent the whole day in the basement in underwear. I had her just wear underwear so that she would feel that sensation, and she would cry. It was scary that there was no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sitting them on the potty, and that's what the expert was talking about with that app that you can use where you start to track your kids' patterns.
Wow, there's apps for that.
There's
now?
apps for
my
it.
Goodness, you guys have it easy.
You should have another one, Danielle.
Grandma
but really
over here.
recognizing the routines of your child. I think that's really the most important, because you're going to get so much advice on, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. Right. And like I said, here was my silver bullet, the one piece of advice that I will give to everybody. Your child is not going to be potty trained until your child is ready to be potty trained.
That's true.
You will try every method, and you will get some things right and you will get some things wrong, but really, you could do everything right. But those little stinkers, that they decide when they are ready. And I stressed out, and I pulled my hair out, and I was wondering what's wrong with me, but really it was them. Yeah. When they are ready and they're not scared anymore, then they are going to catch on just one day like that. And there's a million things that you can do.
Did you guys do rewards? Oh no, go ahead.
Oh yes, I did. Perfect
like
transition
a sweet
there.
or a sticker.
So again, this was 10 years ago from the last one, but I think treats and rewards were a part of sitting them on the potty and things like that. Yeah. But I do remember that we were finishing up the day of the one day with my daughter, and I go, "All righty, Kristen." And there's the Princess Tiara was really big tiara. So she was she had the tiara. All right, okay. If you make it the full day with no accidents, you get this tiara. And she's like, okay, Mommy, okay. And she made it to whatever the time frame that I set. She did it.
She really wanted
and
to be the
she
queen.
really wanted. And as soon as I gave it to her, oh my
Oh my gosh, Danielle.
So I was like, I can't take it back now.
Yeah.
But yes, she was.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
interesting.
mommy, I want it, mommy.
Yeah.
And as soon as I guess she must have been holding it.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
She got
She really wanted the queen.
She did. She wanted to be that princess. She wanted to be princess queen, everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, because Nick Camino, our sports anchor, we were talking about potty training last
Yeah.
night in the commercials of the 11. Great anchor talk, break talk. And he said he gives his kids a Hershey kiss, his little boys, and he actually did them at the same time. I think one's 3 and one's 2. And he said the 2-year-old was quicker than the 3-year-old.
Oh.
He might have been ready.
Exactly, he was ready. And they can't wait for that Hershey kiss.
Yeah.
So that works for them. I've heard stickers, all kinds of tiaras.
Yes.
But kind of those treats seem to help.
We I went to Costco and got like the, bulk size M&Ms for potty training. And what happened was I ate half of them.
Okay.
So you got to be careful
Like
with
the
that.
big box. I know that box because I have the big
Oh,
box from
goodness
Costco.
gracious.
Yes.
Yes, I ate half of it. But you brought up personalities, like what Nick was saying too, where one of his kids caught on faster than the others. I always say that my oldest was sort of like a gateway baby. Like she did things like where her setback, and she did have a setback, was daycare put her on the potty, and she was small, and she fell in. And so she was afraid for a while. So we had to get over that hump. So we had to get over the fear of falling into and getting her little tush wet. Once she got over that, I remember friends of mine were talking about like, oh no, the overnight pull-up. And I'm like, oh, what? I've just put her in underwear the whole time.
Tell me more.
She did not have an accident. But that was her personality.
Gotcha.
Once she was potty trained, she was potty trained. We never had an accident.
Wow.
Then along comes her sister 2 years later. Millie always had accidents. Millie was 3. We're sitting in the car. She's in the car seat, and I said, "What happened? Like, why are your jeans wet?" She's like, "I had to go to the bathroom." And she just didn't care. That was her. That was her personality. Using the whole sensation of being wet, she didn't care. She had to go. She had to go. So it's like it's their personalities and figuring out. You don't want to use fear as a motivation at all, but I mean sometimes you have to realize, okay, what are they afraid of, and what's motivating them? Is it the M&Ms? Is it a toy? Is it just praise and stickers? Is it a chart? And like I said, I just feel like every single one of them, and I have 3. It was when they were ready, they decided when they were ready. So all you can do is tee them up and give them all this information and show them how to do it, make sure they're not afraid, make sure they're comfortable, and then one day they catch on.
The personality is very key, because I was thinking to myself, wow, I felt like my oldest was easiest, and that's the boy. But his personality is more of a pleasing type personality. Of I want to please you. I want to make sure that I do things correctly. My daughter is more like, I don't like Millie, like I'm good.
Right.
So she's like, I'm just gonna do it until I get what I want, and then I'm gonna do what I want to do.
It comes. That is interesting. That is very good perspective, though, to keep in mind. I feel like it was kind of like walking. Like I wanted him to walk. I wanted him to walk.
Yeah.
And I was teeing him up, but he was going to walk when he was ready to walk.
Yeah.
Even if it was a little late, he did it when he was ready. And now he's like running. But that's really good advice.
Yeah.
For a mom who's about to go through it.
And I feel like you're going to get a lot of pressure too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think I was telling you before about even pacifiers. I had other moms that were a couple phases ahead of me. And, there's always well-intentioned people that'll go, well, he's not potty trained yet. Or, if you have them in some sort of childcare facility where it's like, well, time's ticking.
Yeah.
He has to be potty trained in 2 months, and you feel this pressure.
Yeah.
And so you put it all on yourself. Meanwhile, he's going to decide, like I said. And so, I would say another big element is the more you stress out, you might be passing your stress on to them.
That's a good point.
Because then if you're going, you have to learn how to potty, then they get like
they feel it
anxious about it. It needs to just be, a process and go at your own pace, like you've already discovered with walking.
I think that comparison is something that goes throughout as they grow up, because it's the same with reading. Oh, my child was reading at 3.5 age. You're like, my kid's 7 and still, having a hard time. It's different things. So you have to understand your child, and I love that about not being anxious because that gives it off to the baby.
And not letting the other pressure. I feel like it's a little different in today's world where like my friends, we realize, and we're very cautious about saying, oh, well, because we all have babies around the same age. Oh, well, he's doing this. Oh, well, mine's not yet, but it's okay. He'll get there, or she'll get there. But I have had, like maybe my aunts, love you guys, who are like, why isn't he doing this yet? Or why isn't, and it's that pressure, but then you realize he's good. Like everyone in their own time. And that's really good advice, seriously, for moms who put pressure on themselves for every milestone. It's not just the potty training. And it can be a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I have a very well-intentioned mother who told me that all of us were potty trained by 18 months. So what's going on here? Why? You guys were trained by 18 months. And I'm thinking back, I'm like, I remember when my sister was a baby. She's not. You're like, 18, right? Like, Danielle, you say your mind is rusty. I think my mom had a rusty mind. Really and so we would go over there and it was like, wow, why is she not using the potty yet? It's like, Mom, give me time, every child's different, every situation's different. But I think also talking to friends about products or books.
So helpful.
I forget what brand pull-up that we got, from wherever, and they'd include a book. And the more we read about it, and then there was an Elmo Goes Potty sound book.
I remember that one.
I gotta get that one too. Okay.
We read that a lot. Not that really spurred anything on, but there's characters that they recommend or recognize where Elmo's using the potty and Elmo's friend uses the potty, and it's all the flushing sounds and getting used to that, all of the scary things, because you think about how the height of the potty,
100%.
The flushing noise. Then if you're in a public bathroom that has the hand dryers, that would freak them out about,
that's true.
Going in there, the loud sounds. Yeah. And even, so my youngest, I'm trying to think, she had just turned 4 before she went into this past school year. So well potty trained. And she still, once in a while, needed help wiping.
Sure.
And so, you know what, mom mistake here, I'll totally admit to it, but in the summer I said, hey, when you go back to school, you're gonna have to wipe yourself. You can't ask people to wipe for you. You need to learn how to wipe because you're gonna have to wipe yourself. And sure enough, in those first 2 weeks of school, she had a couple accidents because I intimidated her. I told her, you're gonna have to wipe yourself. And she was too afraid to ask a teacher for help. And so she decided to just, have an accident instead. But it was one of those things I didn't realize.
Of course.
I was just telling her, hey, you got to do this yourself. You're a big girl. We learned from my mistakes. Now that might not bother another kid.
Right.
Another kid might take that on as a challenge. But I learned with mine, she's like, well, I'll show you.
I'm just going to go when I'm
just going to go.
Wow.
I'm not going to ask for help. I'm just going to pee my pants. So yeah, and accidents will happen no matter what.
Ladies, okay. Well, 18 months, I don't know about that, but I think when he's ready, that's what you've really helped me with. When he's ready, it's not going to be at 5 years old, don't worry.
Yeah.
But I'll take on the challenge. But I have a lot of books to read, huh?
I guess you do. But you'll be fine. We're here with you.
I have some M&Ms to buy. I have some books to read.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, we got this.
Yeah. Yes.
But then with the boy, you have to also then get him to know how to stand up later.
Oh, so there's a second part.
Yeah, there's a second, because we sat, when doing number 1, and then Daddy had to teach him how to do it the man way, I guess.
Yeah.
My husband is he will be very good at that. Like I was telling you guys, my husband is the one who sleep trained him. And I may have him take on the potty training part too. He's very, like the sleep training for me was hard because I couldn't take the crying. It just made me sad. I'd want to run in.
Yeah.
David's like, I got this. And like in a week he was done. So he's tasked, another task.
Yeah. So that's the difference between the boys and the girls. Like you start them sitting on the potty.
It's a 2-part series.
Yes, 2-part series with the boys, unless things have changed in 14 years. So.
No,
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
I think that's old age. Yeah, that's old. That's old advice. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to both of you.
Thanks
Laura,
for having
best
us.
of luck.
Ladies,
You
thank
got this, girl.
I know,
You
and
got
I have
it.
the best mentors here.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a
Potty training
follow-up.
ladies, yes.
Potty training ladies. Oh, goodness gracious.
So thank you
like
to
that?
Laura
I
and
love it.
Danielle for joining me to talk. Hopefully some of this resonated with you, whether you're a new mom or dad trying to potty train, or whether you're a grandparent who might be watching one of the new little ones that also has to take on potty training duties. We hope that this helped in some way. So thanks to all of you for joining in on Mom Squad. We'll see you right back here next week.